Okay, we are recording, Dr. Kingsley.
All right.
We are unmuted. Taylor, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, so Board of Trustees, Platte County Health Center, regular session, 6:03 p.m. on June 18, 2025. Let's all stand. Oh, yeah, rolling call. Go down the road. Susan.
Present.
Kim.
Present.
Me, present. Zach.
Zach's present.
And is Mike on the phone or no? No? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's do Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Andrew, if you want to run the show.
We have introduction of guests and public attendees, but Dr. Kingsley, you may wish to move public comments up to the front.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. Yeah. If everybody's okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Do we have anyone who wants to introduce themselves who's online or have public comments? Our board policy is public comments are limited to 5 minutes per individual, but anyone who wishes to speak certainly can.
Yes, this is Taylor Ryan on behalf of Deviant Kava. I'd like to be heard if that's possible.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, well, members of the board, thanks for your time. I'm the attorney for Deviant Kava, which is a new small business in Parkville. And as you know, our company has been in an ongoing cooperation with the Platte County Health Department in an effort to receive a food establishment permit. And I wanted to join today to put a face to the name and hopefully open a meaningful dialogue that can help resolve what I perceive as a misunderstanding and an improper denial of our permit. For those of you that don't know much about the company, Deviant Kava is a non-alcoholic social lounge, which wants to merge the environment of a bar to that of a coffee shop. It's intended as a community meeting place where adults can socialize, spend time with their friends, enjoy live music, or play a game without feeling the pressure to consume intoxicating substances or deal with the people that are on those substances. And our flagship products are Kava and Kratom, which are brewed herbal teas. These natural plant products are fully legal under federal, state, and local laws, and the FDA has not passed any regulations with respect to them. There are nearly 400 Kava bars, just like Deviant Kava, operating in the United States, some of which have been open for decades, serving the exact products that we wish to serve. And in fact, there is already one in Missouri, over in St. Charles County, which was permitted with no issue. Our business may be new to Platte County, but it's not new and it's not novel. Nevertheless, the county has denied our permit on the basis that Kava and Kratom are unapproved food additives and therefore considered adulterants under the adopted language of the Platte County Food Code. This statement is based on informal FDA guidance documents that the FDA itself admits are not enforceable and do not bind the public or the government. However, even if we pretend that these guidance letters are binding law, they don't apply to the products that Deviant Kava is going to have on its menu, because they only admonish Kava and Kratom when used as a food additive. And we have no intention of using Kava and Kratom as food additives. Instead, we'll be serving them as herbal teas, as single ingredient foods, which is a very important legal distinction that I hope isn't lost on the board. By law, a food is an article intended for consumption by humans, and a food additive is something that's added to food for the purpose of affecting its characteristics. Common food additives are thickening agents, preservatives, emulsifiers. They are non-food substances, often chemicals, that are added to food for the functional purpose that they provide, that is, to do something to the food. And people don't order food additives on a menu. They are added to the food, often unbeknownst to the customer. And under the law, Kava and Kratom tea, which is merely a plant steeped in water, is considered a food, just like every other herbal tea that's served in restaurants every day. And numerous federal courts have addressed this question with respect to similar products and ruled that single ingredient foods are not subject to the pre-approval requirements of food additives, which is the basis of the county's denial. For example, in the two plastic drums case, which is out of the Eighth Circuit, the court dealt with black currant oil, which is a dietary supplement sold by itself as a food, just like kava and kratom. And the FDA tried arguing that because the oil is encapsulated in gelatin, it's being added to something and thus qualifies as a food additive. And the court staunchly rejected this, calling it an Alice in Wonderland approach to lawmaking. The court went on to add that under the FDA's flawed logic, even adding water to a single ingredient food would turn that food into a food additive. And coincidentally, that's exactly what Deviant Kava will be serving, a single ingredient dietary supplement steeped in water and served as a tea, which every court addressing the issue has considered a food and therefore not subject to pre-approval requirements that forms the basis of the county's denial. There's really no legal basis for the county's denial other than falling back on the language of these FDA guidance documents that really don't apply. And I've explained this in great length with my correspondence to Ms. Snyder. And essentially, we don't want to go down the road of legal action against the county. We want to be partners with the county. We've bought a beautiful property in Parkville. We have a ton of community support, but we have a firm belief that this is a deprivation of our rights. And we've invested too much time and money to roll over on this project. And I'm confident that this decision would be reversed by a judge who takes one look at the several cases we've cited supporting our position. And in closing, it's disappointing that the county is seemingly stretching the law so hard to invent reasons to crush a small local business that's serving a legal product when there are hundreds of similar businesses around the country and even in Missouri. We want to serve safely dosed botanical teas, and we're limiting our customers to adults only, which is a limitation we've placed ourselves. It's not placed by law. Because right now, any of our children, even our 10-year-old children, could go to the grocery store or the gas station, and they can buy kava and kratom products. But they will be buying dangerous extracts of the active ingredient that is served at 20 to 100 times the effective dose of what we will be serving and of what's been traditionally served for decades in the country. So we want to be partners with the county and promote the safe and responsible consumption of these traditional teas that have been consumed in the United States for decades. And because of that, we want to work with you. We've provided copious information showing that the determination was wrong. And I feel like this was a snap decision to deny the permit. No questions were asked when we submitted the application. No, what products we were serving, how we were serving them. I think that the county just saw the words kava and kratom and immediately said, you can't do that, without considering the vast law that's behind us and the fact that this is going on all over the country without any enforcement actions being taken, because it's simply not illegal. Therefore, we respectfully request that the county examine the law that has been provided, reverse its determination, and grant Deviant Kava its permit. Thank you for all of your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is Alex, does he want to talk to?
Is there anyone else
Yeah,
that
Alex
would
is
like
on
to
there, too.
speak?
Well, it's hard to follow trailer, but I would like to say hello. Alex, co-founder of Deviant Kava. Thanks for having me on the meeting. It's nice to meet you. I hope to meet all of you in person one day.
And likewise, Wes, straight. I actually live in Kansas City, and I'm boots on the ground at the shop over in Parkville. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. Okay. All right. Any other further comments?
No, I just thank you for the opportunity to speak, and good luck with your duties and the rest of the meeting.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
comments.
Okay. What's next?
Review and approval of the past minutes. So we have our May 15th board meeting, and then we have our June 10th special session.
Right. Okay. So I've had a chance to look. I didn't see anything. Everybody else see anything that trips their trigger? Everybody's
We
good.
do have one more guest.
We do?
Taylor
Oh.
wants me to make sure everyone
Okay.
So everyone knows Jen Snyder.
Yeah.
So she was unavailable for this meeting tonight.
Mhm.
This is Jennifer Fain. She's with the same law firm.
Another Jennifer.
Yeah.
Should have been easier to remember that way.
Jen and Jennifer.
Okay, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Okay, once again, anybody say anything? Nothing? Do we have a motion to accept?
I move that we accept the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, Susan?
Is that for both?
Yes, for the minutes for May 15th and June the 10th.
Okay, and so Susan,
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Me, yes, Zach?
Zach is.
Okay. So the minutes have been approved. Let's move on to the next thing.
So the next thing, you should have a packet or a memo on your desk.
Uh-huh.
It was not ready in time for board packet preparation. But Deviant Kava has actually amended their menu so they could start business earlier.
Mhm.
One of the things how they've amended it so far, just so they can get things moving along. They're not quite all the way through the approval process yet. As far as I know, Bailey, there were some things they still need to meet some compliance on, but they want to move forward is the latest communication we got, correct?
Yeah, they'll still have to pass a pre-opening inspection, all those things, but submitted a new.
Have you been there already though? Just check
I've
it out.
not done a site visit.
You haven't? Okay, all right.
But one of the things that they want to go ahead and do is kind of serve their coffee and their other types of menu items, which we have zero concerns with the ingredients and that type of thing. But they also want to sell prepackaged kava and kratom. Don't know, I mean, honestly, those things can, Taylor actually said it, those things can be sold any place, there's no restriction. Our concern really is that because it's a licensed food establishment, people might have the impression that those are being inspected by the health department, either for sanitation or for safety. The policy in front of you, basically the big thing is it just is signage that says wherever they have the kava and kratom that these items are not permitted. I should reword that. These are not inspected
Regulated.
or regulated by the health department and I think it has some other language there. Items containing kava and kratom are not expressly approved by the Platte County Health Department and are not subject to food safety inspection by PCHD. It is the responsibility of the consumer to inform themselves of risk associated with consumption of these products.
Okay, and then what is the policy that we're following that got us to this point that we say that they can't put that in their tea at the beginning? So what policy are we following?
So we have adopted the FDA food code.
The
Right.
guideline.
And basically what the FDA is saying is those things are considered an additive.
Right.
Yeah. And as you heard, Taylor disagrees with that. And
Right.
that's part of the discussion that Jen and him are having. Essentially, and I think that conversation is not over.
Right.
But basically where we're at is they want to open and we want them to be able to move forward.
Right.
But the language that you're asking about, it's basically maybe Bailey or Dan can better express it.
Bailey, do you want to address the definition of food in our ordinance and its reference to the FDA food code?
Do you want me to pull it up?
Which, well, I think that's what kind of led us down this road. FDA has not generally recognized as safe kratom. So for that reason, that's the reason.
And kava too, both? Or just kratom?
Both.
Okay,
Kava is a dietary supplement.
But both do not work for us, per the FDA.
Can you say that louder?
Both do not have grass status by the FDA.
Yeah, grass's status is generally recognized as safe, and neither one has that status under FDA's rules at this point.
So what
We are not.
what would have to take place for that to actually happen, that it would be approved as grass status or whatever?
At the FDA level,
Yeah. So the FDA would have to approve it?
as a food additive, yeah. So at this point, they see it when added to food as an adulterant. So unless that would change, then I would be allowed to accept it as added to food. And at this point, we have, we're awaiting guidance on that as well, but.
And then what is St. Charles doing that they accepted? What's their
They
situation?
can't, the law,
Charles has
They
their own
regulate
local
it.
ordinance.
So who passed the law though specifically?
the
It
county,
was their county.
The county commissioners did, or they did it
Yeah,
like
that
a
I
county
don't-
vote?
That I don't know. The state statute in Missouri allows, it's chapter 192.300 allows either county health boards or county commissions. Now, I think they do have to be in agreement to pass local ordinances regarding food safety.
Mhm.
St. Charles, I think, is a charter county, so it may be slightly different, their form of government, but anyway, they passed a local ordinance. Now, there are some states that regulate kava and kratom. Missouri's not one of them, so I think we're getting kind of ahead of the law, and that's why this has been a difficult process. We certainly want all of our small businesses to succeed here.
I'm on board with that.
Interested in-
So I guess what would need to be done then? So the county commissioners would have to approve it first? They have to make an ordinance and then we can accept it, or?
Well, there was a bill introduced in Missouri that would impact the entire state. It didn't pass. It was, I'm not sure how far along in the process it got. Most recently, the state of Colorado passed a state law regulating kava and kratom, and I think Missouri will get there eventually. We could even maybe encourage that, and I think some of our professional associations are discussing the feasibility of doing so. But right now, we just don't have the regulations in place, so it's kind of like the horses. Horses a bit.
So, and we had talked about this, I think, a little bit earlier at our other meeting, and it's here in the policy about the prepackaged kava and kratom. Does that even exist?
It does.
So they could do that at their facility?
So that's what they're asking to do, and that's what this policy is saying. We would allow it because, I mean, as Taylor said, there's some interpretation, and our big thing is water is defined as a food. Under the FDA food code,
Okay.
water is a food. So when you add that root to it, you are effectively, and I know Taylor's like, I disagree, and I get that. But that's how we are looking at it, and that's how the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services has described it to us, and the FDA guidance so far that we have got.
So we're saying
But
that
the prepackaged stuff, we want them to be able to sell it. We just want to make sure that the consumer knows that that is separate from whatever they're currently preparing.
okay,
This isn't anything that they're packaging though, right? Like this is
They're
bought
not
through a
packaging
third
They're buying it.
party,
So they're
and it's
okay.
packaged, then
Just
nothing
like a
that
creamer.
says deviant kava on it.
Okay.
So who's actually mixing it though? The customer?
yes.
Well,
Think of like a seltzer can, it's a beverage, not like a package of Splenda,
Sure.
it's already a drink.
Mhm.
So it's coming in like a can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So something like, it's coming from a manufacturer facility. So there's not really any mixing. I mean, I
They're
guess
selling a cup of White Claw,
Yeah.
and
essentially,
that's
That's
I mean,
the most
that's
recent
nothing that.
most recent proposal.
correct.
And that wasn't the original proposal, but the most.
Right.
that is the
And I
most
don't believe that's the end all. This is what we're willing to do in
For
the
now.
In the meantime,
right,
okay.
So,
there's stopgaps to kind
Yeah.
of,
We are
Keep moving.
still awaiting FDA guidance. We've reached out on their opinion on these, pre-bottled beverages, and they might come back and say, hey, we don't think those are great either. I don't know, what their opinion is,
What the other side.
on those, but their response times are severely delayed, so.
Right. Well, I want them to be successful, so
Thank you, Andrew.
I think if we can give them what they need within the guidelines that we have to be in, I have no problem with that. And then if it comes to the point where they can get a judge to overturn us and then it's legal, more power to them. That's the way I look at it. So I want them to be successful. I want them to do as well as they can. So that's how I feel about it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I want them to be able to open and do what they need to do to get started.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the real question is just, is the board okay with us requiring the signage?
Yeah. I think this is a
Yes.
good starting point.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, Bailey or Taylor, but I don't think Taylor has seen this policy yet. So
Taylor Ryan.
Taylor Ryan has seen,
Yeah,
I don't believe has seen this policy yet, so.
Yeah, this would have to be something they were agreeable to.
Sure.
They have not seen it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, we can still approve it, and then if they don't want to follow it, then I guess we'll go from there. Is that really what you want to do?
In addition, I would have to ask you as well, would this be something that you're comfortable with? You know, if we do hear back from the FDA in a week or two and they say, hey, these are not allowed, pre-packaged, pre-bottled or not, is this something that, we say, hey, I know we've been allowing you to do this for a couple weeks. Do we
Yeah,
revoke that?
if we
at that
get
point?
new guidance, we're going to
We'll
follow.
have to change, yeah.
Yes.
As long as
If
we
it's
are
a
within
law
the,
change or
yeah,
anything.
we're within the guidelines that we're supposed to be, you have my approval.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, do we have a motion or is there still more discussion?
I'm just gonna look at wording real quick.
I would like to add the language on the sign was very intentional in that we're saying it's not expressly approved by the Platte County Health Department. In other words, if we allow them to operate with these products, that would seem to be implied authority or implied approval.
Yeah.
But when we're saying that we're not expressly approving, we're saying that we don't approve of this, but we're not going to stop it in a sense. And it's the responsibility of the consumer to inform themselves of the risk associated. It's
I
their
agree with-
responsibility. It's not.
And legal counsel, that sounds good.
Yes.
It's also okay.
Okay. You guys are ready.
Just my own lack of like knowledge based on where these like items are typically sold. I mean, is this something you can just get at like a gas station, that kind of thing, like that prepackaged like can of kava and stuff? Is this
So
something
that
that
was-
now they're going to have to start?
Where I
Putting
took
in
that
the
picture
windows.
was like I don't want to say the name of the place, but like
Was it in Platte
grocery.
County?
That one was not,
Okay.
but there are, I'm told, and Taylor has said there's other places. We just haven't seen it
Okay.
in Platte County. And it is a prepackaged thing. You can get it on Amazon.
Oh.
There's other places you can get it.
Okay.
Yeah, the places and I haven't done extensive research on this, so I with that qualifier, I've seen the kava items containing kava for sale on Amazon. Kratom is, I have not seen, but I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I just saying I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But this would be something where like those, like say a gas station or something like that. Platte County has kava they're selling, they would need to now put up this sticker.
If
Yeah,
it's a licensed
window.
food establishment, we would require the same.
To me, it's
So
just
they
like
sell hot
cigarettes.
dogs there, so then they need to put it up.
It's just like cigarettes. You have those age that don't smoke. They're right on there. People still
No,
smoke.
I'm thinking like, what larger implications are there?
There is
With-
language in there that it would be going on our annual renewal applications.
Okay.
So if they check that, then they would be subject to these requirements.
And there are
I don't think that's
establishments,
unreasonable.
there are establishments that sell food products that are prepackaged and don't meet the definition of potentially hazardous, that we don't license those facilities. So what they sell is not regulated by us. Can you give an example, Ben? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Like a smoke shop that sells bottled soda and chips and things like that. So I wouldn't regulate those. But if you throw in a roller grill, you have hot dogs or some milk or something like that, that would be potentially hazardous, then you would be a low risk establishment and require a permit through us.
Okay. How much is their permit going to be, by the way? Just cost wise? Just curious.
They will be a low risk establishment.
So 100.
What? Yes, $100.
And that's annual. Okay.
Dr. Kinsley,
And-
the ordinance of Charles County was passed by the St. Charles County Council. And it regulates kratom sales. It does not imply that it's banned or considered safe. So they have require retailers to register online, and it also makes it so that people under 18 cannot purchase it. Sorry.
I apologize for jumping in. Is that all right if I speak? I feel like I was addressed at one point.
Go ahead. Say what you
Yes.
said.
I think you were just referenced, but
Go for it.
Okay, I just wanted to answer your question that we are acceptable with this policy for now. And of course, if you're given different guidance, we want to comply with the law. So if you're told, a month into this process, we can't do it, we are obviously going to work with you on that.
Okay, appreciate
Okay,
that.
great. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, who wants to make the motion?
all right, I move to approve the proposed Kava and Kratom policy that relates to their sales and licensed food establishments.
And do we have a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? Susan?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Me, yes. Zach?
Yes.
It's a done deal. Congratulations.
Mr. Ryan, I am sending you that policy right now via email, so you'll have it here shortly.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you guys are very successful.
As do
Thank
I.
you.
Thanks for all your help so far.
Okay. All right, what's next on the docket?
HVAC update. So I think everyone knows it feels fairly cool in
Yeah,
here,
it does.
which is good. We are still calibrating some of the things throughout the building. You do have in the expenses the approval to pay for the dehumidification equipment. I would ask that you approve it. However, I don't plan on releasing that until we have a few more troubleshooting things completed. We are, I think, probably right now about 50% humidity in here, which is great throughout the building. This is really hard. It's actually the perfect time of year to determine whether this is working or not.
Right.
Because with these wild temperature swings and when it's 87% humidity outside, it is really hard for the inside to acclimate. This room's probably a little cooler than it should be. So there's just a little bit more fine tuning they need to do with the heater and the cooling, just so, like, I think I have it set at 74 in here and it's like 71, the actual temperature. So it's not quite in balance yet, but it is working. And the humidities have been not really any higher than 60, even when it's like 87% outside. So
How much more time do you think you need before you say, okay, we're good?
I would hope in the next couple of weeks, because they want their check.
So do you want to pre-approve it pending
I'd
your
like you guys to go ahead and approve
approve
it,
it, and then
I will.
pending your final say? Okay, I'm fine with that. Where's that actually at?
It's just in the bills,
Okay, all right.
but things are working. The connection to our app, and I think I showed that to you, Dr.
Yeah,
Kinsley.
the app is cool. Yeah.
So I can look at the temperatures any place, and change it if need be. That took some effort from our team and, well, mainly our team, because it just was kind of screwy, but it is working. One day, I just need to tell this funny story. Before they got it totally acclimated, this room was about 62 degrees and we had a meeting coming in. We had 3 days of child seat installation training. And I'm like, 62 degrees. We can't have it at 62 degrees. So I turned it to like 72 and turned on the heat. Dan calls me 45 minutes later and it had already reached 72. And he's like, it is broiling. It's like the Amazon in there. What is going on? And that was in like 45. It was hardly any time at all.
Right.
And then I brought it back down in about the same amount of time. We haven't had any more of those days recently.
You and I were inside the Parkville room and you were just playing around with it and you could tell within like a minute or two how fast the temperature changes. It's pretty cool. It's fast. But you said it's almost too fast.
Yeah, it's actually not a good thing. But
All touches to
Yeah.
the thermostat.
Yeah.
That will fix that.
yeah. But we're getting there.
Right. Okay.
So will you go down to my report? You can go ahead and go. So, but this is fine. Just looking at, some of the things that we do pretty administratively, we are getting, particularly when we are looking at producing birth and death certificates, which we do make a little bit of money on. We are way higher this year than at this point through May than we were other times. Cindy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but people like coming here to get these things done. I think they find it really convenient. I think they find it clean and nice, and our team is good and proficient. We're able to continue. We have another office that when people have a problem, we can call up some reinforcements and call the state if needed. And our team's really good anyway, but I think we really meet their needs on that. It seems like a mundane thing, but especially as we went through just the real ID and everyone having to have birth certificates and stuff, it's been
Is
really
that why
good.
the last 2 months it's almost been a
That's
40%
what I was
increase?
thinking.
It's with real ID. That's what it is.
Real ID.
Probably.
Wow. Okay.
Go ahead and scroll down. Yeah. One of the not fun things that I get to talk about is funding reductions, and we do have one. I don't know if you all read through it, but essentially we get money through a public health emergency preparedness contract. We've had that money for decades. Most of it came out after 9/11, so it's been over 20 years that health departments have been receiving this money. It's gradually gone down. It used to be a lot more, but we have used that money to fund a position, essentially, or a significant portion. Our cut is going to be about $19,600 for the year. So essentially they are giving us half the amount of money for the FEP contract. They did tell us that Congress could do a continuing resolution where we could potentially get that money back. Taylor just submitted the revised budget today. And what I asked her to do was just submit it for the entire amount for 6 months. So basically 6 months, let's see what's going to happen. And then we will make a determination what, if anything, we're going to do.
And you said that money's going to a salary, an employee, specifically one employee, or is it spread out for everybody?
It's kind of spread out over several because there's several people in that division. So it's not one particular person, but it's pieces of several people's salary. But the way my simple mind looks at it's like one person, but it really isn't one person, it's several people. Now I will say that at least for now, I believe we can subsidize that even if it didn't change. But long term, we may have to look at that
we need to find $20,000 every year.
Yeah.
Plus whatever over time.
It all kind of rolls into that whole budget process. But I did want you all to know that that had happened.
Sure.
Scroll down.
Somebody's retiring?
And I didn't even put his name, so is it Taylor? Is it Dustin?
Can we make a motion to decline this return?
Sorry about that.
But Dan is going to be retiring. Official last day, July 5th.
Official, yeah, I think the June 27th will be my last workday.
Very cool.
So we had talked about it today and he's like, I had that party and then it'll be Friday and I can just get my mug and I can leave. And I'm like, well, you could do that, but so I think that just seemed kind of appealing, not coming back on Monday.
Monday.
So what's the first thing you're doing when you're on the other side of this retirement thing?
Probably take a lot of naps at first, but
Sure.
yeah, we'll do a little driving around the country, I think, and then plan to go to Europe in October. So
Very cool.
yeah,
Very cool.
look forward to it.
I think everyone got this in an email from Taylor. I guess she was bragging about it.
That's all right.
Taylor she's been hired as Dan's successor, so she will be taking the role technically effective June 22nd. Practically, it won't happen until Dan
July
leaves,
5th or whatever.
but I wanted to make sure there's just a little bit of overlap so that she can't say, well, Dan's still the guy till the 5th at 5 o'clock. I don't have to do that, Andrew. So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Have the hotlines, Dan, in case you.
I know. Dan said I can call him. I don't know if he meant it, but.
He gets to decide whether he answers.
I thought you were going to say that number's gone.
Number, probably. Between Bailey and me calling him, it might be a lot.
The other thing is, so Taylor's position is going to be empty. And so Rebecca Richardson, which is sitting back
So
here,
congratulations.
she will be taking the role of accreditation and quality improvement manager. So that is a little bit different than Taylor's current title. We have made that kind of a tiered position. I think we've talked a lot about making sure we can give people an opportunity to grow and get into leadership positions. But sometimes like an assistant director position requires some more experience than what people currently may have. So this basically gives Rebecca an opportunity to get some of that leadership and then eventually work up to that.
So if we don't get all our paperwork in for accreditation, she's the one we fire, or what do we do?
Good move, Taylor.
Taylor's always over there with an evil plan, so I guess that's
cool.
probably her strategy.
Right. We got our eye on you
Looks
now.
great. Right.
Yep.
Rebecca's very good at sticking to the timeline.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So the next thing is just some of our budget status. We are at 74% of our expected budgeted revenue. So we have collected $2,910,474. Our expenditures are at 40% of our total budget for the year. We're 41.6% through the year. So again, this is going just about as we would expect. Go ahead and scroll down. Our money market balance, we are a little lower than we were this time last year. My guess is that's because we have put money, and I kind of talked about this, but as we put money into those reserve accounts, they come out of this account. So it actually only being 27,000 roughly is a good thing. because we are putting more than that into those reserve accounts.
So the 3.79, that's just gonna keep dropping as the interest rates still slowly down. Okay. So what's the trigger point where we may want to switch out to something else? What have we thought about that?
We are in the middle of our banking contract change, and at least for the reserve accounts, we are going to be putting them into the most strategy of investing. We may look at the money market later, but we wanted to kind of just try it with the reserve accounts that we wouldn't be messing with very much first. So we have discussed that at Finance Committee. And I think that is one of the things long-term that we intend on doing.
Because that's a big drop.
Yeah. But look at 2022 where we were at.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like the jump.
Yes. That was nice.
Our lease purchase obligation, we are about 230,000 is what we've paid since May of 24. So things are continuing to go down.
Cruising right along.
That's probably it.
Next on the agenda, as Andrew mentioned, with Rebecca, will be our new accreditation and quality improvement manager. She will be vacating her health educator position, so we'll be hiring a new health educator. But just wanted to touch on some of the activities that Rebecca's been involved with, and our other health educators. Tricia and Rebecca were presenters at the Age Positive Conference on May 2nd at the Kaufman Foundation. I believe there's a photo right here.
There you go.
So Tricia and Rebecca presented there. The title of their presentation was Know Your Numbers, Building a Healthier or a Stronger, Healthier You. The Know Your Numbers program encourages older adults to know their blood pressure and what those numbers mean. But it combines blood pressure education, stress management, and health building techniques to help our adult clients make small, attainable goals for themselves for improved health. I think I mentioned this last month's board meeting, but the Equal Start had 361 participants at the Mother's Day 5K, which is record attendance and involvement. But that's a big fundraiser for Equal Start and the Back to School Fair, which will be held here mostly in this room on Thursday, July 31st. Planning continues for the Platte County Seniors Health and Caregivers Expo, which will be held at the Platte County Community Center North YMCA in Platte City on October 2nd. Andrew told the story earlier about the temperature or issues in this room that.
Hey, Dan, I was saying, Jennifer, thanks for coming, and I'm glad we didn't need you.
I'm glad as well.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're fine. Anyway, that meeting that Andrew mentioned was a Train the Trainer event hosted or presented by Children's Mercy to train child passenger safety technicians as part of the Platte County Buckle Up Kids program. It looked like we had about 25 attendees, not exactly sure the number, but mostly from law enforcement agencies in Platte County. The harvesters distribution in May.
Bye, Bailey.
Thanks, Bailey.
Thank you.
We had 89 households served, which represents about.
Okay, I keep interrupting. Sorry. So the aging positive thing. What was the point of the conference? Obviously, it's for seniors, just to do what? To
know their numbers.
Educate them.
But that was just our spiel.
Geared towards caregivers particularly. So either like personal caregivers or family member or people working in a daycare facility. So we were one of the presenters, but the whole idea of the conference was to try to reduce stress in the aging population and worry and anxiety. And so we actually, for our Know Your Numbers campaign, been running at several different senior centers into for us to show them how you can run the Know Your Numbers campaign and do some patient education. But particularly what we found that most of our seniors wanted to know, okay, here's my numbers and what can I do? So we talked about ways for movement and exercise. We gave those in breakout sessions to their caregivers of like, here's some healthy recipes and here's some movement opportunities, like here's some chair yoga, some different things like that. But the whole conference had tons of caregivers just giving resources because we have an aging population.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure to give them resources. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Sorry, Dan, you can get mad at me.
Take advantage of those resources here.
Always happy to answer health ed questions.
Our environmental health team have been doing their routine work of inspecting food establishments, lighting establishments, childcare centers, on-site wastewater treatment systems, but they were also very busy with that whole carbon kratom policy writing, and I think Bailey and her team did an excellent job. And they'll continue to do an excellent job, continue to communicate with legal counsel and try to help Mr. Ryan and his team succeed, and in doing so, make sure that we're protecting the health of Platte County residents as well.
Great.
And then finally, as I wrap up my career, I just want to express my gratitude to the board, past and present. You guys have been awesome. You've been very supportive of me. It's been a pleasure to work with Andrew and previous directors as well, who have also been very supportive.
How many directors have you gone through?
I believe. I was thinking about that the other night. I believe 4.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. 34 years.
Yeah.
Mary Jo just is really tough.
Yeah. And they all had and have different qualities that I learned from and benefited from and really appreciate. I really appreciate not only the guidance, but the giving me grace when I needed it. Over 34 years, I've made my share of mistakes, but I've always had folks who were willing to forgive and help me move forward, and I appreciate that very much. I'm sorry, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything, so I drafted a few notes here, but my wife retired from the Park Hill School District after a 28-year career. She was a first grade teacher at Graydon Elementary, and my son went to school there, and then he went to high school at Park Hill and graduated Park Hill High School in 2018. Did all the youth sports, the baseball, basketball, soccer, football. This has been such a wonderful community to Lisa and I remember meeting Wayne Smith, my first boss here, at a conference down at Lake of the Ozarks, and he was looking for an environmental sanitarian at the time. And I thought, I'll drive up there. I was working in Johnson and Lafayette County, living in Warrensburg, which is a great place to go to school, but not typically where people move to after school. And it just wasn't. It was a great community. I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, but it just I didn't feel like it was my place. So we drove up here, drove around, checked. I remember driving by what we thought was Garden Elementary, Graydon. I was a little dyslexic there, but I moved up here after seeing the community. This is where I want to live. This is it. I love this. I love the way this looks. And so we moved here 34 years ago, and it's just been a wonderful community. Like I said, Jacob, our son, really thrived at Park Hill. Lisa, when Jacob was born, was able to take a year off to be at home with him for a year, and then he went to Willow Woods Child Learning Center in Platte City, and he absolutely thrived there. I mean, he couldn't have had a better childhood. I think he'd tell you that too. And he still has his very close friends that he met in kindergarten, elementary school, are his very close friends today, and they're all starting their careers and their adult lives, and moving to various parts of the country. But I'm so thankful, and I know how lucky I am to and make some great decisions along the way. Of course, first of all, marrying my wife, but to come to work at the Platte County Health Department and live in this community, it's just been a great decision that we made, and I'm so thankful. I just want to express my gratitude. So thank you all. Thank you for
Thank you.
your support.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all I have.
Nice work, nice work.
You don't have a page 3?
No page 3.
So before we move on to Dustin, I do have a couple things that I forgot. One is originally, and I think it was off by the time you and I met last week, but we were going to have Dr. Oberoy, who was going to be our next medical director, introduce himself tonight. But that is not going to happen because Dr. Parker's circumstances changed a little bit. So she will not be taking a position that made her give up her Medicare and Medicaid certifications. So she will be continuing her role as medical director for us.
Does she have a time frame? Like a year, 2 years?
Well, I think she will be our medical director for perpetuity at this point.
Does she ever want to come to just talk, introduce herself?
Have you guys not ever met her?
I think I met her once.
We can arrange that, Dustin.
Make a note of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we were going to do with Dr. Oberoy.
Yeah.
We at least put a face to the name.
She has, I think, been on a call before when we were dealing with something, but she'd be happy to come. Sure.
In person would be great, but she can zoom in too. It's not the end of the world. Yeah.
I think she's local, which is one of the great things.
Okay.
So I'm sure she can make it in.
All right.
The other thing I wanted to mention is we have a new setup for headshots. I don't know if you had seen, but some people's headshots are not studio quality. They're kind of rough. We have new headshots for all the management team that's going up on the wall. Our staff did a great job. Abby Hunt and Jill Ballard just did a fantastic job. They bought a background and have some lighting, and Abby loaned us her camera and her photography skills. She used to do portraits. So the new ones are very good. We would like to get new pictures of all the board members, if that's okay. Just didn't know if maybe before our next meeting next month might be a good time, or if you'd like to schedule a different time, whatever you want.
I guess maybe at the meeting, just make sure we dress up.
I'm fine with that.
Just well, I don't know if I think I'll be here, but my picture looks good already. I don't know if I want to give it up. That was like lightning in a bottle. I don't know if I could get that again.
She did a really good
Just
job.
do blue steel again.
Yeah, I got the blue steel.
Yeah, she will position you. She'll tell you if you don't look good.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she had me contorted in a way that I thought would look awful, and I looked not too bad. Not Dr. Kingsley level.
Yeah.
But
Blue steel.
She'll fix your hair if it's not looking right.
Okay, so our next meeting is what, the 17th, right? Yeah, I won't be here, so
and we can
I can come in off
we
the
can
grid and do it.
anytime.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
But would you all be okay coming in like 15 minutes early?
Sure, we'll make it work.
Cindy
You're having a
Kogan,
good hair day.
Cindy Kogan, if you would just remind people of the photos before the next meeting, that'd be great. Dustin.
Okay, so then we talked last month a little bit about the leadership challenge that Taylor and I had attended. I know upcoming, the future one, I think Heidi from WIC as well as Cindy will be attending that. So it's a fun opportunity. I'm excited to see the people participating in that and getting feedback and all the experience. And bringing that back to the team. It's been pretty positive thus far. So thank you for Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services for providing that for us. That's really a wonderful opportunity for everyone. Like I said, a lot of what we've been doing is like working with Health Ed for like the back to school fair, getting that ready for the end of July. Working with like the Know Your Numbers, Healthy Aging Conference, and then all those different classes. We also worked and went to partner with them, went to Seegers Elementary to do like a little health screening day. They have a fair in the cafeteria for like, I think it's the 5th and 6th graders. and we performed like vision screenings, eye checks, children how to do their heart rates, things like that.
Are you gonna be traveling to elementary schools to do that, or is it just the one?
It was just receivers, so it's something that they just did on their own. So we were trying to partner with another school back in December, but ended up falling through. But looking to partner with them more in the future as well. I did get accepted into University of Missouri's MPH program, so I did.
All right, so what does that all entail? What do you got to do?
It's to be an online program, so I'll just be registering for my classes and maybe attending about 2 to 3 classes a semester, working on that.
And then time frame wise?
Probably 4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years. Okay. All right, and then you have to do like a capstone at the end or something, or what do you got to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Congratulations. That's awesome.
And so one of the things about the capstone is typically it can't be in your real job. So it has to be separate. One of the things that my boss did for me when I was finishing mine up was I was able to still do it at the health department. It was just in a discipline that I wasn't doing. So for me, it was in environmental health, which I wasn't actually doing that at the time. So when it comes Dustin's time, we will probably try to figure out a way for him to get his extra public health experience here so it still benefits us. And we'll try to do that for anyone else that tries or is going to go that route.
More the merrier. I want everybody pushing themselves. Like I've said over and over again, I want you guys to be director somewhere someday.
But it was a great opportunity for me to go work in a different division with different people,
right,
and still get paid. Right. I like getting paid.
Sure.
That's always good.
Especially for your students, that's really helps out.
Yeah.
WIC's been pretty busy. Like they went switched over to their e-WIC cards. I know we discussed this at previous meetings. They issued over 600 of, I believe, 800 total what they had. And clients are really loving it. It's very easy for them, especially if they lose their cards, they can just easily get replaced. It's all in their app, or if like a lot of families whose their infants are on formula, if they have it's usually legal for a specific type of formula. So if they need to change that for their infant, they can easily do that right there in the app, and then helps them calculate like how much dollars is. They just scan item there, they'll put it on their help them shopping while they're shopping. So families are really loving that. We are working on our own customer satisfaction survey. I think we have a meeting whenever I get back here next week. Swope, I didn't get all their survey results back for this month. If I do get it for the end of the month, I'll send you guys an email when you know what the results were for that. Their numbers were a little bit down compared to what we were last year. But I think Sue was in this meeting when we were discussing with Swope too, when I broke it down by how many days they're here versus how many days we were here last year. We're averaging about the same number of patients per day being seen. So
what days are they doing clinic?
Wednesdays and Thursdays.
And are they thinking about expanding anytime soon?
Their goal is like if they can get to, I think it's 16 is what they want a day. That then if they get that need, then they'll want to extend more days based on that. But like their first goal is trying to get those 2 days where they're getting the 16, 18 patients daily, and then expanding from there.
Have we met with them since I forgot what her name, Dr.
We met.
So what was the takeaway from the meeting?
Well, we had it on Zoom, and they had their human resources there, Dr. Jamal, and another, I don't know who the other.
I think Amy Smart, I think that's their one of their marketing people.
And they're going to start working on like some pamphlets, different pamphlets. We're going to start working on
social media. So.
Social media, and I was going to say the location. They're working on the location app that would show that.
They're not on the map.
Because I said, well, Dr. Kingsley said that doesn't show up.
And it did show up. Dr. Jamal was doing it too. So we may classify the clinic as a different office number, so that it would show up on there.
So I believe what we've decided is Suite 600, because that's room 600-ish. So, but I made sure that your comments got.
Well, I mean, it's a big deal. I mean,
And they're
What about-
working on that to see how they can come
so
together.
what would it,
Jamal just rolled their eyes, I'm not sure.
so before though, what would happen then? They would just see the Riverside place and just go there instead?
Just
well,
mainly,
yeah.
they just don't see it exist.
That's what I'm saying. So they would just go to Riverside.
That's the health department.
So now that they can actually see it, maybe they will start coming here then instead of Riverside.
Possibly,
If they can get that, they're working on getting that.
Right.
but
Okay, well, that
that
would help.
was brought up.
What
I'll
about
come.
when you have your food, like the harvesters, is that? are
So
people-
that's what
are you
the
giving it?
pamphlet that we were
Okay,
talking about is giving that out with everybody. Having that available as people come in
Okay.
too. WIC was going to be another big place we were going to give
And I
that
think
out.
they were doing something with Medicare too. I think on the pamphlet, something about saying that.
Yeah, so they're.
I think we all tend to think that everyone is on social media and uses internet to find everything, but that's not really the case. I mean, I work in a population of people that you talk to them about, can you do a telehealth visit? And they look at you like you have three eyes. I mean, they don't.
And that's why with the
It's, you
pamphlets
know,
that we.
not everyone, there's a real big difference.
The pamphlets would be handed out at different things that we had like.
Like
that.
different events and like, you know, especially like bring a pack out bag when they go out and like, you know, like the, know your numbers, positive aging conferences, different things like that. We have our senior health fairs in the fall we'll go out to. So having that information, I mean, the goal is sending like, pamphlets and flyers that we have out, just information.
So they're trying to
all our services, what they do here, and trying to get that word out.
And plenty of appointments available.
Yeah, and that's
And walk
big
in.
thing they're trying to.
Walk in,
Yeah,
yeah.
walk in.
Yeah.
And they actually talked about that quite a bit, but they have been making a real effort to not turn anyone away.
Good.
And so if they can get them in as a walk-in, they will do it, which is an advantage of here versus some of the busier clinics. So,
At least for now.
right. Anything else, Susan?
I guess that's what I remembered.
Let's start.
How's the dental hygienist situation working? Is that?
Pretty good. They're here on Wednesdays. I'll see if I can get like an actual number what they're seeing. Okay. I'll get back to you on that one.
That's gonna be excluded.
I have a question. Are you still doing the Narcan distribution?
We are.
Okay. I
It's,
hadn't heard that mentioned recently.
yeah, it's not like we're not seeing a ton of it just because I think it's so widely available now for a lot of different entities
Okay.
that are giving it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is still a program that exists. I know I'll have calls from different organizations, businesses asking about it, and I usually refer them to like straight to the distributor who has and how they can enroll in that. But it's still always available here. People come in, pick that up if they need to.
And we were giving out quite a bit more because I see a lot of the bags, but so, and that was something I think Dustin and his team and probably Health Ed decided, you know, we want to get it out, but we also want some information to go with it. So it's in a nice little bag and package. But yeah, we just have not been given the demand. It's not what it was.
But like I said, if you look on like their website, they have a list, you can type in your zip code and like all the nearest places that distribute it has grown exponentially in the past few years. And I did ask them, 'cause I know there's been like different things, different fundings being cut. They said that they're still solid for at least 5 years. So that's like a program that'll be coming on for a while. That's about all I have for my report. Does anyone have any questions?
All right. So this month with accreditation documentation, we didn't move the needle a lot because we had a lot of other things going on. So a lot of what we've been doing is onboarding. I've been trying to get as much information and knowledge as I can from Dan while he's still here and pick his brain. So I've been learning a lot from him. And then I've also been meeting a lot with Rebecca and doing some onboarding with her and getting her on board. She already had been helping out a lot with accreditation. And I think I've mentioned it a couple times that she's been really helping with the process. So she already kind of knows the whole process for going, like doing the documentation for the documents or reviewing the documents that people are doing. So we are working on a plan to get that moving a little bit faster. And so that will be hopefully moving a little bit faster soon. We've had a lot going on again with the Kava Kratom. I feel like everybody's, again, this always happens to me. Like everybody's already mentioned everything. We did the leadership challenge.
So before you go though, so I think I asked this last month, but I can't remember the answer. So let's say we don't get it done by December 3rd, we get like, they give us a special dispensation from the polls or something, or what do they do?
So we can request an extension.
Like it goes by 30-minute or 30-day increments, or what do you do?
I think they just changed, I think it's technically 45-day increments, like 45 work days.
Wow.
But they also recently made a lot of changes. So they took out some of the requirements, but it wasn't really any of the full measures. It was just like subparts of the measure. So especially things related to DEI and health equity, things like that. They've changed the requirements for that. So some of those that we don't need to do anymore, but some of those are just like portions of one of the measures.
Right, sure.
Okay.
5 months is gonna go fast.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
totally aware.
Yeah.
It coincides with her probationary.
I'll say,
Yeah,
Well,
I think if I don't make the deadline, I go back to being an intern, is that it? So, yeah, I'm fully aware of that, and we're trying to get, some different ways to get things moving, but I am shaking the first time, hoping we can.
Okay.
Things on track.
very cool.
Yeah. And I guess we didn't really include the like upcoming org chart, but I will be overseeing the accreditation, quality improvements still. So I will be over Rebecca. And then Rebecca is going to have the direct reports that I had previously with the communicable disease emergency response. And then I will also be over health ed and environmental health. So I'm learning a lot about that. And I have a lot of experience in past with health education, and so I love doing that stuff, but I've been learning a lot about environmental health and been thrown right into it with
Yes.
the common kratom thing. So it's been fun. And then we just have had our meetings with our committees, and we're working on the plans, the strategic plan. So Taylor Anderson from the Missouri Center for Public Health Excellence is going to be coming next month. I sent an email about that. It was supposed to be this month, but it's going to be changed to next month. So she will be coming in person. And she'll be presenting on some of the information that we've discussed and to get any input and approval from you all. So that will be exciting.
Approval for what though specifically? Do you know?
So approval for our mission, vision, values, our strategic priorities. I mean, does that?
Yeah, mission,
approval,
vision,
right?
values, we are changing. So if you look at the ones that are currently on the website, they're not very health literate. They are pretty long. And one of the things that's important to me is just health literacy and having all of our staff be able to actually say what our mission, vision, and values are, not some twisted, like my memory is terrible, so it's gotta be pretty simple. Like, let's do good. That would be great, 'cause I can remember, let's do good. It's a little longer than that, but that's the gist, is just trying to simplify it. And we looked at a ton of different health departments, and it is actually kind of refreshing to see the trend is to make them more health literate and to get out of these, paragraph long things that no one's ever going to read, but it might look really great on your website. But once those are finalized, we're going to get them posted, probably up by that big seal that's up by the front door. So we see those every day. But yeah, I'm kind of excited just that they're much simpler message, just that we're here to improve the health of our Platte County.
Right.
Sorry. Anything else?
I just think you just put the little thing above the door and you walk in, you slam it. I will not be out hit every day or something like that. I will not be out hit.
Yeah, I think it's a thing.
What team is that?
Notre
Is that the
Dame,
Chiefs? Notre Dame, that's what it is. I will not be out hit every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that largely sums it up. Any other questions or?
Susan, I assume you don't have anything since we didn't meet.
I had nothing. We canceled, didn't we? But we had the other.
I was gonna call in, so you would have had me there.
How's the Paylocity going?
It's going. We've had a bit of snags, so we actually.
Am I not prognostic or what?
spent a lot of time the last, probably 7 days working very closely with them, Michelle and Dawn and Michelle, or Paige. Been on the call or been on the phone with them probably 2 or 3 times a week. We think, as of yesterday, we've isolated out some of the issues and they've been fixed. So they're going to be doing some testing tonight and before we start another payroll, which starts next week.
So we've only been affected 1 payroll, right? 2 so far. So this will be the 3rd if there's an
Yeah,
issue.
we didn't catch it on the first one.
Okay.
It's one of those things where it doesn't happen to everybody and it has to be the right situation.
And
Of course, we spot checked and didn't find it until this last payroll. So we had to go
And
back.
then you and I talked, it's also onboarding or something with another issue or something?
The
We just
onboarding,
haven't
we
got-
have just paused
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
We pushed it back to, I think can't remember the exact date, but the second week of July or something. Because we just couldn't take on one more thing right now. And it itself is very expensive, the onboarding pieces, so we get to do one thing at a time.
Complex, but like I did say, it'll integrate with Indeed. It's gonna be really neat when it's done, but it is a lot of work. And right now, finance is battling with someone like their director keeps like approving stuff and wiping out all the approvals and I don't know. What are you doing?
And all those systems are great, but they have to be, you still have to tailor them to your where you
Yeah, I mean,
work.
we're basically repopulating
Yeah,
and, and populating with things that we don't really even have concrete right now. So it's gonna be awesome when it's finished, but it's gonna be a lot of work to get there.
big learning curve.
I've been involved in 3 go live events with computer systems at hospitals. And every one of them had screw ups. I tell you, it's gonna be seamless. You won't even know.
Yeah, no. Never that way.
You won't even know.
Yeah, I was.
Switching over to Epic.
Yeah, it's seamless, no problem.
Oh, I love Epic.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I know. It is good.
Yeah, I was pretty skeptical when they said that too.
Seamless.
But Dr. Kingsley has complimented himself several times.
Twice.
But I do want to make sure everyone.
3 times now. Okay, here we go.
That
Yes.
are up on the TV.
Isn't that cool?
I think before we even moved in, Dr. Kingsley and I was having a conversation about this room. And he said it'd be cool for like when you do a press conference or something, you have like a big map of Platte County. And so actually these are frame TVs, so they just always run these and it scrolls through different maps. And we are still working on them. If the Platte County one comes up, what you'll see at the bottom in that banner is the population, which school districts are in Platte County, all the zip codes, some real helpful information if we're dealing with some type of
Like a flood or whatever. Yeah.
whatever emergency. And so these will be changed. These were kind of our trial maps. Dan pointed out, well, Parkville is like almost twice that size now, so you might want to change that. So it's still work in progress, but I did think I shared Jill and some of her team worked on this. So I just was pretty pleased. And then the other will go through pictures and different things that we're doing at the health department. So thought that was pretty fantastic.
You don't think you're gonna need it until, once again, you have a massive flood like Parkville did, or if there's a hospital, like our tornado comes through and trashes someplace. It's nice to put up a map and have the hot spots that you're pointing at, especially if you're doing a press conference. So.
Anything on the financial report, Cindy? Need to review and approve the bill.
You got a chance to look at them all?
Yes.
Anything in
And
particular?
we're gonna go ahead and approve the
That is my request.
52,000 something.
It should be 58. I think.
58,000, is that what it is? Yeah, 57. I make a motion that we approve the bills of May 16th to June 18th.
Okay, a second.
A second.
Any further discussion, Susan?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Me, yes. Zach?
Yes.
Okay, so the bills are paid.
Any fee resolution?
Okay.
That's
And were there any checks for us?
Oh my gosh.
Good thing the meeting is not quite over yet. Can you scroll down?
Yeah, I thought that was odd. Yeah, no, baby.
We always got.
You don't know anything.
Every month we got.
Great. Wish that happened at my house.
Okay, so the public health infrastructure grant amendment. Basically, we've talked a little bit already about the new server that we're planning on getting. I think we talked about it at the last 2 meetings. It is slightly gonna put us over the 10% change within the that FIG grant that we're able to spend. So we just need to make an amendment to the grant. And they've already given us approval or they've indicated that they will give us approval for it. We've already talked to them and they said that it fits the requirements for the grant and they're fine with it. We just need to get approval from you in order to make the amendment to our contract.
And this is the final cost, right? There's no other cost down the road that might come along.
The backup server, or sorry, the new computer server and backup system.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay. This is from the grant that may not be there after this. Is that what we talked about?
So
Yeah.
at any time, this grant could go away and we're just wanting to spend the money.
To get it done.
Originally, it was for salary, so we're just kind of flip-flopping the salary money and this money.
Okay, but once we get this money, it's a done deal. We're done.
Once we get the check from them in hand, they
It's a done deal.
typically don't take it back.
Okay. Okay. Where's the actual amendment? Motion.
There is.
There you go. Who wants
Way
to?
down at the bottom.
I'll read it.
No, it's fine.
I move to authorize the director to make a budget amendment to the public health infrastructure grant.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, any further discussion? Susan?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Me, yes. Zach?
Yes.
I'm gonna say no on this. This is. You can't quit, dude. Sorry. All right, so do we have to approve this too?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Paige Heidi, is it Hyatt? Is that,
Paige Hyatt,
have we met her yet or no?
I know.
She hasn't.
you may not have met her. She has been here for 20 years. And essentially what we're doing is we're just adjusting. Well, we have created a HR and finance supervisor position to help succession in that division. But we won't be refilling the bookkeeper position she currently has. So we're not necessarily replacing it. We're just using that money that funds that position, and it's a pretty modest increase, but it does give her an increase to make sure she is over those that she supervises.
How many total people in HR?
HR and finance right now has 4 people here, but then it's all the clerks too, so it's what, 9?
7 of them.
7 total.
7 total.
Okay. All right, you're gonna need to move down. That's it? Okay. Anybody want to make that motion?
I move that we approve the positions of deputy director, full-time accreditation and quality improvement manager, and HR and finance supervisor.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, any further discussion? Susan?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Me, yes. Zach?
Yes.
I don't think I was thinking it goes with them.
Are you gonna be excited when I say Dan? I
And-
quit saying Dan, scroll down.
Not even. The other papers we usually. Oh, they're here. Are they there? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
So Taylor's trying to cover this because this is some more good news.
Yeah, so another thing that we've been working on is the incentive funding. So we received 90% of it. The other 10% that we did not receive is going to be for full accreditation. But we did all of the things that they requested other than that in order to get that funding. So we just wanted to include that. That included that the FAB readiness assessment, doing the Missouri gap analysis, which I think we talked about one of the meetings, and then also we establishing MOUs with neighboring counties, and then having the county commissioners attend one of the trainings that was offered by Missouri DHSS.
And again, thank you to the county commissioners for
Yeah.
doing
All
that.
three did it, right? That's
I
impressive.
appreciate them for watching that. That's pretty great.
And then I believe we actually have 3 MOUs, not just 2.
Yeah. So we did get more than the 2 that were required. So, so one with Kansas City, one with Jackson County, and then one with Slate County. And then also hosting an intern and also attending a local national conference. So we met all those requirements and just started to talk about that.
Excellent.
Um,
Now this is cool. You've showed me this. This is actually really cool.
So I'll pass this around and you guys can just share it. But we were contacted by State Senator Lutkemeyer's office, and they wanted to do a resolution at the Senate regarding the program that we talked about regarding the water bottles that we won an award for from the Missouri Centers for Public Health Excellence. And so it was kind of weird because I didn't know exactly who it was, and Cindy Kogan said, "Do you want to talk to this guy from the senator's office about water bottle?" I'm like, "What?" I was not on my game that day. We got it figured out what he wanted, and then Trisha and her team did an excellent job of responding to there's questionnaires and different things that they had to fill out. And then I just was really impressed with how it ended up being put together by them. And it was quick. We got it back super, super quick. And I think just really proud of the team for doing that. My daughter even got mentioned in it, so I appreciate the team recognizing her.
Congratulations, Avery.
One of my favorite parts, Dr. Kingsley is bragged all night, so I'll take one.
There you go.
But it's ably led by Andrew Orla. But yeah, it was just, I was in a meeting and was it you and Trisha that came to show me?
Yes,
Or
yes.
biggest smiles ever. They're like, "Look what we got." And it's just pretty big morale booster. So congrats team. You guys are ably led for one, but you also do some great work.
Well, I was taking my water bottle to the pickleball court, and Mr. Cole decided he wanted one of those, so he got one for Father's Day. Yes.
So when
I
you
love
decide
those
you're gonna
water
start
bottles.
putting all our words and all that stuff, do you have like an award case?
We're still working on that.
Okay, all right.
But the other thing, that was kind of cool, Dr. Chavez had mentioned, Cindy O'Laughlin, the state Senate majority leader. And we had went to a meeting with her, but she signed that, so that was kind of cool, but we actually know who signed it. Very proud of the team. Good job, guys.
Yeah. I think it's-
So one thing I forgot to mention is we do have a public health intern right now who's helping with some of the health ed stuff and also some of the accreditation stuff. And she's working on a customer satisfaction survey that Dustin mentioned. And I believe she might attend the next month's meeting. But
And how long is she gonna be here?
She's just here for the summer, so just till the end of July.
And what is she supposed to have accomplished when she's done?
So she's working on the customer satisfaction survey. She's working on, why am I blanking?
Health literacy training.
Yeah, doing a health literacy training for all of the staff, working on a communicable disease, not communicable disease, Did you give me? Harvester flyer and then chronic disease presentation.
Yes.
Chronic disease prevention, some horrible presentations.
Okay. And what school?
She goes to NYU. She's an online student, so she actually is from the Chicago area.
What? Live in Kansas City, NYU,
She's just here
Chicago.
for, yeah, she got an Airbnb for 2.5 months. Yeah, yeah.
What? Well,
I
that's
know,
cool.
I know.
That's cool.
Well, that works. So she's doing
And she
some good
didn't
work.
know anyone here, so that was kind of strange.
Yeah, yeah, like in Kansas City at all, so. But
Wow.
she's been doing great work, so we're excited. Interesting.
But my daughter and her went to eat dinner, I think on Saturday, so she knows one person.
That's pretty brave to move somewhere.
All right, what else we got?
That's it. And Dan, is there anything that you have thought, before I leave, I want to do something in a board meeting?
Oh.
I was gonna tell Andrew all finally.
Andrew doesn't have to get to tell him scroll down.
Yes, exactly. That was strange, class one. And it's funny, I started counting, how many board meetings do I have left? And it seemed like it was about 37, and it's
Oh.
amazing. Amazing how quickly they've gone by, so.
What would you say was your best time at a board meeting?
Best time, yeah.
This one.
Maybe exciting. I bet he remembers the worst time the most.
I don't, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about that. Didn't have any great time.
Well, that was gonna be my next question. What was the most, the one time you're like,
I can tell you the worst, without question, was during COVID.
Yeah,
That was a horrible experience for anyone involved, inside and outside the organization, for all of us. It was horrible. And just would not want to go through that again, or anything like it. But it's kind of funny, my career is bookended by major events, the 93 flood of 93, and which was awful, but in many ways a very rewarding experience. The work we got to do. I was down at the Red X in Riverside for a full week. Just first we were watching liquor be destroyed because because the sewage gets under. They had 9 feet of sewage in the building. Pallets of cigarettes. People would steal the cigarettes from the center of the pallets, but we had to watch a lot of food and liquor get destroyed. And we were supposed to just watch, but we were guilty of helping because we were still worried.
yes.
And so, but then I'd go home and I had 3 cats at the time, and I would take my clothes off and they would bury my clothes because I smelled so awful. Well, not only sewage, but they use this orange air freshener to.
And they even worse.
Right, it was so bad.
Even the cats hated you.
Still have trouble eating oranges. But
Oh.
that was such a, first of all, to watch the community come out and try to save communities like Parkville and Riverside, and then to be involved in the cleanup. It was quite an experience and more rewarding in many ways, but also it was difficult to watch people go through those difficult times. But the way that those communities have recovered is remarkable. Like downtown Parkville, it's fabulous now, I think so. But then that, as positive as that was, COVID at the end of my career was so negative. I wish I didn't have to, and any of us, I wish we wouldn't have had to go through that. But anyway, thank you for asking that. And I know when everybody wants to go home, I'll shut up.
I won't be able to make it to the party, so,
Okay, well,
but congratulations. And
thank you.
hopefully retirement is everything you dreamed of.
I hope so. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
And just so we're on the record, thank you, Dan, for everything that you've done over the past 34 years.
You're welcome.
You've been incredible to work with. I've really enjoyed it. Can't say it's friction free because it never is.
It's been a pleasure.
Dan really likes being the center. That's kind of this thing.
Okay, we need a motion in the meeting. Yes. Yeah, you can't leave yet.
Our next meeting, July 17th, 6 o'clock, same place. Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to stop the meeting? Adjourn.
I have a motion to end the meeting.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, let's go. Susan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Me, yes.
Yes.
Bex says yes. Okay.
Now you, I'm just gonna take these.